right, my friend Saagar here went on Tucker Carlson last night to talk about what else? Populism in our incredible book, which Tucker, very nice of him to praise it the way that he did. It was at number 11 then.
Right.
Now it's at number 6.
Yeah.
What can you say? Let's take a listen though to what you had to say on the show.
One out in the great dark space between the East and West Coast, but he gets caught doing it. He's dumb enough to do it on the air, speaking of dumb. And then he doesn't really apologize. Why?
No, it's a hostage-take apology. And he doesn't apologize because he and everybody there, they have sheer contempt for the American working class, for anybody who would deign to vote for Donald Trump. Rick Wilson's joke was, these Americans can't find Ukraine on a map. Well, he can find Ukraine on a map, and he wants to send you and your viewers' kids to go die in a war over there.
Exactly.
So is he smarter than they are? If you can't find Ukraine on a map, but you know that we shouldn't send our sons and daughters to be fighting and dying for neocon foreign wars, are you stupider than Rick Wilson? I don't think so.
What I love about what you just said is you went right to policy.
Yeah.
You didn't say the people who disagree with me are immoral or they're stupid. You said they're pushing policies that are wrong. And the core debate is always over what do we do with the country? Like, what's the right policy? They never even address that. Ever. They just dismissed it. They don't want to have a policy debate.
Right.
Why is that?
Because that's the easier debate, to call you racist or ignorant. You are racist or ignorant if you want less immigration in your... If you don't want an open border and you want to protect your wages as a worker, you're a racist. If you do not want more trade with China so we can ship more stuff so we have cheaper plastic goods here at home, then you're an idiot. You've never taken an economics class, Tucker. What do you know? And I'm just like, hey, man, you know, I'm just trying to feed my kids. And like, oh, you fool, you're better off. Prices are cheaper. That's what education is. That's what they think education and being smart is. It's to demonize them so they don't have to defend their idiotic policy positions.
What I find so striking is that the people who are saying things like this, who are dodging the real questions, demonizing the country they preside over, are the products of a very deliberate system designed to create impressive people. Pete Buttigieg is the...
You know, Krystal, this is kind of what we talked about yesterday with Ryan, which is we played that clip of Rick Wilson, Don Lemon, just laughing at people, making fun of working class voters. And then what did we play right after that? We played Dave Chappelle. He was appearing with Andrew Yang in Iowa. And he talked about it. He said, I have no contempt for Trump voters. I understand these people. I know these people. That's why I like Andrew Yang, because he's trying to attack the problems that led to Trump, that it's a symptom of something much rather than attacking the person itself.
And you're not even allowed
why is it so difficult
say that in most Democratic circles. You're not even allowed to say that you don't have contempt for half the country. And this is not to like absolve people of things they've done wrong or wrong beliefs they had. Like, all of that is real, but also who am I to go in and say, like, you're worthy, you're unworthy, and that's a core part of the problem. And why do they do that? Why does Rick Wilson and other members of the sort of media and professional and political elite, why do they do that? Because it's much easier to blame voters than to blame yourself.
Yeah,
right? It's much easier to say, well, it's the voters' fault. They're racist, they're stupid, they can't find it on a map, they're too dumb, they're uneducated, et cetera, rather than saying, you know what? Me and my people have been in charge in this town for a long time, and we've screwed stuff up. And there's a good reason why these people are mad at us.
That's exactly what I said there. Which he was like, why do they do this? Why do they undertake these underhanded tactics? And it's like, because they can't defend what they've done. Like, I made that example on trade. I was like, they tell you that you're stupid and you've never taken an economics class, so you don't know what you're talking about. But who's the actual stupid one? You know, the smart person is the person who sits in their town, they see NAFTA get passed, they see the factory in their hometown leave, and they see everybody in that town suffer and lose their job, opioid crisis, you know, destruction of the American family, all of this. Who's the stupid one? Is it that person saying, hey, I want a little bit better trade policy for me and my family, I want the government to help me out a little bit? Or is it a Rick Wilson, or is it one of these elite people who is telling you you're better off because the TV in your living room is 8% cheaper than it was 10 years ago? You tell me who the idiot is.
Right, the person who actually recognizes reality. It's not even that I want the government to help me out. It's like, please stop destroying my town and my life.
Right.
That's exactly right. No, it's so interesting, and you see the same parallels with Sanders. There's all these, you talked about the Bernie bro narrative. It's the same thing, right? By saying this group of supporters is toxic, they're problematic, et cetera, the subtext, they can't say it explicitly now because so many polls have shown how diverse Sanders' base is, but the subtext is, oh, they're all toxic young white men. By doing that, you try to make the whole movement and the candidate associated with it problematic, unacceptable, so that people will be less likely to associate with it. And people just are seeing through. I mean, it's just not working. Like, it's just a failed strategy. Yeah. All it does is harden the support for that particular candidate.
That's right.
So you know what, forget it.
All it does is, this is what's happened over the last 3 years with people on the right, is that at first they're like, oh, Trump, you know, and then they saw the way that people who even deigned to vote for him were treated, and they said, you know what, no. This is wrong. I know this person. This is my uncle. This is my aunt. This is somebody who I grew up with. And they're just like, hey, man, you know, I'm having a rough time. And for the last 35 years, you people have been promising me stuff. So I'm going to take a chance on somebody. Is that a racist person? Is that a wrong person or somebody who's crazy? No. It's like that's a totally rational choice to make. It's the same thing with Sanders. People think that, you know, if you're a student out there, if you're a young person, you're never going to own a house in this country. Ever. Right? Think about that. That's a massive societal change. You can barely have kids because you're going to be paying off your student debt until your mid-30s. That's wrong. And this is what I criticize the right on all the time, which is if you're going to go out and say, look at these lazy kids demanding socialist handouts, you're the immoral one. We created this system of total exploitation of the youth of America, and then we went out and called them lazy for asking for a little bit of help in order to get out there.
Yeah,
all they want is the same opportunity that the previous generation had.
Do you remember at the beginning of Andrew Yang's candidacy when he was first starting to get a lot of energy, online energy, when the Yang Gang was first coalescing? You remember what they did to them? There were all these stories about how it's white nationalists, alt-right, supporting Andrew Yang. They do the same thing to Tulsi because she does have independent and Republican crossover support, something that we're, you know, relentlessly told Democrats should want and should be going, you know, we should be all going to the center so that we can attract that support. Well, she manages to do it, and then they smear her for it and say, well, it's just Republicans that like you. I mean, it's just this playbook is rolled out against every candidate that they find inconvenient because they challenge the status quo.
The real center in this country is corporatism. That's it. The real center is fiscal conservatism, and then socially we fight battles on the other side. It should be the other way around.
It's exactly the opposite. You did a great job.
Thank you.
It was awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. Thank you guys for watching. We'll have more for you right after this.